Amanda! Amanda! Viva ANC, viva! Viva ANC, viva! Viva COSATU, viva! Viva Communist Party, viva! Viva Communist Party, viva! Viva Western Cape, viva! Viva delegates, viva! Viva delegates, viva! Viva ANC Youth League, viva! Viva ANC Youth League, viva! Viva ANC Women's League, viva! Viva ANC Women's League, viva! Amanda! Thank you very much, Comrade Program Director, Provincial Acting Interim Chairperson, Comrade Lerumo Kalako. We are actor, Dlame. The coordinator of the IPC, Comrade Tandi, the entire IPC leadership present here, NEC members led by Comrade Barbara, and all NEC members deployed, not only in this conference, but in this province. Comrades and distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen of the media, revolutionary greetings, comrades, from the National Executive Committee of our glorious movement, the African National Congress. We are here to give support to you and to wish you a very successful conference. I want to start by saying and applaud the delegates of this conference. Despite the glitches we have seen starting from yesterday, when this conference was supposed to start, I think you comrades have kept your cool and your discipline of what is expected of ANC members. Normally in conferences of the ANC, you come abantu behamba ngeentsula, abantu bethukisa, abantu behamba ngecoffin. Yet despite the contest and differences of leadership, you have kept your cool. And this is good not only for you, but is good for the African National Congress. This image that ANC people, when they meet, is in Davini. ANC people, when they meet, are hooligans. They don't think about our people. They think simply about positions, as though that positions are getting out of fashion. You will contest in this conference. Others will win, others will lose. But the ANC must remain, comrades, after your contest. We went to a national conference of the ANC, and some of you in this province had preferences of who must lead at national level. You had very strong preferences. Even those who contested, including myself, we came here. We had comrades here among yourselves who supported us in these positions we hold today. Abanye babo, they are contesting here today in their own name and right. And bazi noba bayenzile threshold. says ayiva loo nto. We don't know whether some of them made the threshold. But there are equally those who did not support us as leadership and also made their voices to be heard. And then they stood and they went around the province and canvassed their opinions. At the end, comrades, we all went to Nazareth and we contested. And there was leadership outcome. Those who supported us and those who did not support us are members of the ANC. We equally have a task to build the African National Congress. So I want you to relax and to sit back. Under very difficult circumstances, we have arrived at this conference of the Western Cape, which has taken us over 5 years to get to this point. We have had changes even in leadership of the IPC, to the point where comrades think that they are leadership. An IPC is an IPC and it has got a lifespan and it doesn't exist forever. And I want to thank these comrades today also of the IPC, old and young, for holding the fort and under very difficult circumstances. And some of them were actually attacked and be given names, but they stood firm till to this point. Because they did not appoint themselves to be in the IPC. They were appointed by the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress. So I want you, comrades, not to treat them as though they were leadership. They were just temporary. And don't be too hard on them. And give them a good round of applause. And don't come in this conference, comrades, with your heart. Come with your mind. Because if you come with your heart, you will have problems. I've known comrades who came to conferences of the ANC with a heart and even declared that so and so, if he's elected, I'll go naked. If so and so is elected, I will abandon my membership. And then we ask ourselves a question: how can you go to that extreme? Because conference can produce any result. And where will you be? And the conference produced the opposite of what they wished. And they are still here. And they never went naked and they never left. Because you must look at the question of leadership with a mind and principle. I know it is difficult now. Even what I will say as an advice here to some of you is too late in the day. Senikabili, abanye benu, you have taken a stand, you have decided. But I'm happy for one thing, that in doing so, you did not bring the ANC in disrepute. You can contest, you can do what you want. And comrades, leadership in a conference is decided by persuasion, by engaging, by talking to each other, and by persuading each other to arrive at a common position in terms of leadership of the province. And that discussion must be underpinned by a principled political perspective of what kind of leadership we want in the Western Cape for the African National Congress. And if we want this kind of leadership, and informed by this set of principles, who must then come into that leadership? And it means that you must then go for the best in your ranks. That you know, because they say in the organization, you rise through the eyes of your peers. You don't just drop from nowhere. You rise through the eyes of your peers. I umavugengeni. Kokela, when he's supposed to be introduced, we don't know him. And then you ask a question, who did you elect in a conference? Because you elect the leaders that you know. The people you have worked with, the people you've been toiling with, the people who know you and you know them. So that tomorrow you are not caught by surprise. Surprises are a problem, comrades, are a very dangerous package in the long term. And that is why this terminology of a factory fault is not far-fetched. Especially in our history, we have produced a lot of such. When you see a person even going and forming and joining political parties because he did not get what he wanted, and then you realize this person was a senior leader at some point in the ANC. And then you ask yourself a question, how did it come? It's because of this dangerous package. You need to talk among yourselves, and you don't need to blame the National Executive Committee. I deliberately mentioned Nazareth because among yourself you gossip. So and so ngumntu kanobhala. Andinamntu wamntu mina. Into endiyaziyo kukuthi I've got comrades and cadres of the ANC. Even if you supported me at conference, it was correct because maybe you saw leadership in me. But now I'm a leader of all ANC members. And I speak, I dare say, on behalf of all ANC leaders who are in the national executive, starting with the president. It was easy for people to be elected because they brandish, I am CR17, I am RET, I am this and that. All of those things are gone. Zmele ngokwakho and convince others why you must be elected. Do not attach a label next to your name. Because other comrades do not have the access that you have next to the leadership. So convince comrades by your deeds and your standing that you deserve to be their leader. And comrades, you need to talk. And I emphasize this point that you need to talk, especially here in the Western Cape. Because here in the Western Cape, we are facing a difficult revolution. You are busy fighting for nothing, and yet the power is gone. The DA here in the Western Cape is in charge. And then I don't see you, comrades, taking the DA to the task. But the DA is chasing us everywhere in the country. We can feel them. Even with lies and distortions, but they are there. Even in Tshwane, where they've been governing for the 7 years, they are there and they still blame it on the ANC even when they are in charge. Even in Johannesburg, when they've been shuttling in and out of the municipality, they are still blaming everything on the ANC. Even Ekurhuleni in Port Elizabeth, they are still blaming it in the ANC. Yeah, in Western Cape, where they mismanage power, they are just cruising, they are having a good time. They have even sold the story to the rest of the world that where we govern well. And the world believes them. And there is ANC here that has allowed them to perpetuate the lies and the distortions. Because the ANC is fighting is at each other's throat for a temporary power. You will elect leadership here, comrades. What will that leadership do after this conference? To lead this province out of this quagmire that we are facing in this province. Are you able to talk and accommodate each other? You are not doing that. You are being confused by individuals, some who've got lots of money. And a comrade, you will get money for this conference, it will end on Monday. And then it will be back to square one. At least take the money, but put the mind. And understand where you are going. And let me assure you, comrades, the days where the ANC and everyone do as they wish, we are now in the renewal agenda, are not over. They are behind us. Akusekho kwavula sibhuqe apha kwa-ANC. Umntu xa kangakwazi uziphatha, if you can't behave, we will give you a chance. If you don't, we'll straighten you up. If you don't, we will put you in your place. And even NEC members, I see them here. Some of them have not deployed them in this conference. And I'm going to allow them to be here because some of them are born in this province. But if they cause confusion, bazawundazi indibhinqe ngantoni. Yekeni le nkomfa iqhube ngendlela zayo ide iyophela. Leave these comrades to talk among themselves and find each other. If you can't find each other, go to the vote. What will come out of the vote will be the product of conference and must be supported and be respected by everybody. We cannot afford the ANC to be delayed any longer in the Western Cape. The leadership that will come out of here, with all its imperfections, we will correct it as we get along. It will be the leadership of the Western Cape and we will respect it. You, comrades, have got the responsibility. And unity is not something that is an event. We work on it. And we must now begin to dissect. When we are divided, what divides us? I hear the comrade of the Communist Party, ubetha kamandi. Uthethi politiki noba singavumelani kwezinye indawo. But at least I'm happy to differ with him because I differ with him on political matters, not on personalities. And this is what must define us, because uthethe enye into apha yandenza ndaba nama-CEs watshintsha ipolicy apha kule platform ye-EPWP wathi masiyenza permanent. Ndayicinga ndathi uyi-investigate phi le policy kathi masiyitshintshe ngoku siyenze permanent abantu sibenza abasebenzi. Ipolicy kaloku loo nto siyicingisile loo nto. It's an ANC policy, it's an alliance policy to implement something called EPWP. It's a program. Xa i-Communist Party ke ngoku icinga uba fana masiyitshintshe siyenze permanent jobs, masiyicingisise mhlekazi ngoba ifuna imali loo nto. Ngoba yes niyayifuna kukho abangayifumaniyo. Lo program nifakwe kuyo because ine purpose. Ayo purpose ye job la program. Fana nalanto ye reservist pha emapoliseni. Ndaxakwa ngamapolisa when I arrived there. They wanted to move from reservist to be permanent. And some of them tell me, I've been a reservist for 10 years. The reservists were not meant to be 10 years. They were meant to be temporary. Including President Ramaphosa, he was a reservist. So a reservist is somebody who shares his time and skill for a particular period in a police station. And then say that I'm an IT specialist. Ngoba no yiswa kubhala docket, I'll spend 10 hours of my time to write dockets for you in the police station. I'm a qualified IT specialist, I'm a graduate and all of that. Or I'm unemployed. I'll spend my time in the police station. That will increase your value proposition in terms of your CV. That you once volunteered in a police station. But it can't be turned into a job overnight. You are employing people by backdoor. And then when it explodes, you don't have answers. And the reason why we implemented EPWP was to skill the disengaged youth in terms of job entrance, was to skill those who've got qualifications, but at the same time, they are there, but it is said that they did not practice any form of job experience anywhere else. And then we said EPWP. But equally, it targeted the disengaged. A young person with ambitions drop out from high school because of early teenage pregnancy. That person is unskilled. He will not find job anywhere. We put that person through the EPWP program for a particular period and give that person a skill so that he can then, in the future, be absorbed in the job market. That's what EPWP is there for. It is not a job creation scheme, so to say. It's an intervention by the state, and that is why it's located in Public Works program. So if comrades want to change that, let's talk about it. And we can't just frog march to the next point without interrogating the other part. And there are many of these programs. We in the Youth League were advocating for a program called National Youth Service Program. Because many countries in the world, United States is leading, and in Africa, Nigeria is leading in terms of youth service. Comrade Trevor Manuel said, where will we get money for that, Mbalula? When he was minister. And we wanted it to be in the policy. It is in the policy of the ANC. So we said it must be massified. And what did they do? They gave us what is called Umsobomvu Youth Fund. Out of the demutualization process of the old mutual, they gave us 1 billion rand. 1 billion rand. And then they called it Umsobomvu Youth Fund. Its first CEO was Malo Sekeka. And then that Umsobomvu Youth Fund was then targeting youth entrepreneurship to give money to small businesses of young people and support them. Over time, we merged Umsobomvu Youth Fund with National Youth Commission. National Youth Commission played a role of advocacy. Their job was to knock in government departments and say, you, Department of Transport, tell us how many young people have you employed? How many young people have you put through a program of skills levy, program of youth service in your department? And then that is why they produced a national youth development document, which has not been reviewed till today. By the way, Jabu Mbalula was the chairperson, Mahlengi Pengu was the first chairperson, Jabu followed. And then after that, we dissolved that into National Youth Development Agency. Abana budget ababantu be Youth Development Agency. Bane 200 million. Abanayo ephelwa ki salary ingakad yenzi noba intoni na. So don't sell a story to the youth like NYDA is a wow. NYDA still plays advocacy role, but to a certain extent, limited, can intervene in terms of a number of youth projects there and there. Ojabu Mfusi sabalahlela kulantu apha Western Cape. Sabaqasha pha. Beqhuba laa nto leya yomsobomvu Youth Fund and so on, creating opportunities for the youth. And that is what we have done. So comrades, the task of youth unemployment and job creation is not a task of NYDA, it's a task of the state as a whole. And that must be then championed by the Youth League, but it must equally be championed by NYDA through a framework of youth policy intervention and advocate for that, for things to happen. Today, we implemented through that youth policy, through learnership programs, we have, through that particular project, implemented learnership projects as part of the youth policy intervention in this country. Championed and led by the Youth League and the National Youth Commission, and later on by the National Youth Development Agency. What this country needs, it needs a vibrant youth leadership at the center of youth development struggles of youth in this country. This concept, economic freedom, was conceptualized by the Youth League in our lifetime, in a conference in Galaga Estate. Malema waiba wamkangayo. Wa form a political party. And then ukalni house ufunu bangogi RET naye ngoku abaleke ngayo. Athi no sisekhona siphila sibajongile. They now want to run away with that and want to call it RET, an organization. Now, at the turn of the century, comrades, when the ANC turned 100, we amended our strategy and tactics. We said we have attained political freedom. It is not enough. And the next mission in this transition, we called it the second transition. Kula conference ndabethwa kuyo ndashisa. Mangaung. In that conference in Mangaung, sikiwa yenye into pakutwa izumantashe. You then, in that conference, in the strategy and tactics, amended the strategy and tactics and said the second transition must be defined by economic freedom. And then you left it like that in the strategy and tactics. In Nazareth, where Matamela was elected, you shifted the gear. And then you said in the strategy and tactics, it is not enough to sloganize. We must talk about socio-economic, must be speeded up. That is what you talked about in the strategy and tactics. And in that, you then adopted resolutions that were very radical, because you said radical economic transformation. You know how radical they were. They make Richard Khanyago to think all the time, because you said the Reserve Bank must be nationalized. And then you said land must be expropriated without compensation. That is now giving the meaning to radical. Because once you say land must be expropriated without compensation, you're moving from that apologist approach of willing seller, willing buyer. And that is what the ANC is and has been affirmed even by the last conference in terms of the strategy and tactics of radical economic transformation. And we must implement. That is what we are about, comrades. Here in the Western Cape, in the farms and everywhere else, our people are marginalized. And that's why in this conference you've got the Rural Pact, I'm told. No, ndiva nami esithubeni. Now, comrades, the most important thing that we need to understand is that the strategy and tactics of the ANC have evolved over time and to the point where we are here today to fight for the economic emancipation of our people. As people seek to divide our people in the Western Cape, the ANC must be at the center of uniting. Comrades, there is nothing that says black is outside African, and then colors are defined outside black, because colors are part of black. And that is what we must understand. And so when we talk about equity, it doesn't exclude colored in the terminology of black. It means we are as al sam en die werk daarso. How the DA wins the elections in the Western Cape puzzles everyone. But you can see that is a rigmarole, is another project. Because the oppressed, even from the point of view of governance, are not affirmed by the DA government in the Western Cape. At the bylaws, including the city of Western Cape, how they treat taxi owners. They just treat them from the point of view that they are das swargafar. They just treat them like known entities. You know, I struggled as a Minister of Transport here to get the Central Line back. Because the DA, I will come back, will agree. I see Malusi Boy now, he doesn't know whether he's expelled or not expelled. In the DA, he always apologizes to Helen, try to appease her. Ndibuyisele ma'am, ndibuyisele. He was the MMC here in Cape Town, whom I thought he understand our plight inside the DA, as the MMC of housing and so on. So I say to them, find land, move these people from the tracks so that the trains can move, because this transport of taxis and so on is eating from the pocket of the poor and the working class. The trains must run. 20,000 people a day commute between the townships and Cape Town. And once you say they must now use other means other than a train or a bus, if they are working for transport, their salary goes to transport. So we then say, let's bring back the trains. They came as if they are with us. All what they want, they fight for what is called devolution. Because in that devolution, comrade of the Communist Party, they are in bed with the private sector. Because they want to privatize public transport in the Western Cape. So once we devolve this and give it to them, there will be private trains running across Cape Town. And then that will not resolve the problem and the plight of the working class. And the ANC policy of making trains and public transport accessible will go out of the window. And that is what it will mean. Leave alone the fact that PRASA was mismanaged over the years by our people, but the purpose and the intention of the liberation movement, the ANC, to make transport accessible to the poorest of the poor does not take that particular position away. And that is what we must understand. So the DA here have never worked for the poor, and in particular for our people. and that we know. But where is the voice of the poor if we are at each other's throat? And the ANC is divided, the ANC is going down, the ANC is not united. And this conference, comrades, must be understood in that context. We must not lament and complain when we've got an opportunity to unite the African National Congress. Delegates cannot be voting cattle who cannot think for themselves. When they get to the ballot, because somebody somewhere, he is actually making determination about what must happen in this conference. Delegates must think for themselves. And that is why these factions who are giving you money, they didn't pay for this. I had to go and find money for this, together with the TG. These people who are giving you money to drink and do everything, they didn't pay for where you sleep. We had to get money to pay for where you sleep. This money that they are distributing, they are giving you, they are not giving it to the ANC to pay for this conference to succeed. They are giving it to you. And for simple things, because by the time you go home, those nice things will have expired. You won't even be able to buy your kids supper when you go back home. So, comrades, it has been very hard to get to this point for this province. It has been very, very, very difficult. And I know you can unite if you want. There are many comrades in this province, either in the metro and even in the rural areas, who have been at the helm of leadership of the ANC in this province. If you talk among yourselves, find sanity, you will unite. You will unite. But if you can't unite, you are married to the slate, you can go with it. But I was encouraged by Nazareth, because I went into that Nazareth, I was not even as a secretary given a chance. Because bese kugqityiwe ukuthi uMbalula akazungena. Dinivile nicula le ngoma nithi jike ujonge ecaleni. Ndayicula apha ekhaya elitsha la ngoma. Ndathi jonga khona into ezakwenzeka. Khona into eshukumayo. But ke umdu is my comrade and he's my leader. We are together. We work together, including Comrade Pumulo. So we don't treat each other as enemies. The conference is gone now. And we work together to build the ANC. Nina uba nisese Nazareth. If you are still in Nazareth, you are on your own. We have long left that place. I'm here today. The president will be coming straight from France. Nimbonile Mosefutama Tangaji. On the African agenda. He will move there tomorrow or on Sunday or any time. He will be here to close your conference. Matame. We are united in the ANC, comrades. I know there are other people who are already thinking about 2027. Balapha nje baqashile sebecinga ngo-2027. Some of them are even thinking that if Phala were to go the wrong way, we will be in quick and fast. Now, let me tell you this, the ANC is not in a crisis. And we decided on Phala because we said, can you allow everything else to be done? And then after that, we will then talk about what needs to happen. And that agenda can't be set by Malema or the DA. And then the ANC will make its own determination about what must happen. And two, we will not just sacrifice our president at an altar. Neither are we sycophants of Ramaphosa. We are not. If anything were to arise and it require us to take a decision about the president, we've got rules in the ANC and the checks and balances, we will decide. If the president has to step aside at some point because he's got things to answer from a point of accountability, he will step aside. Uklas Palama step. There's no problem about that. The president will step aside, there's no crisis. There is no crisis of leadership in the ANC. And don't start to ferment that. Because conference have closed that matter. It elected president, it elected deputy, it elected secretary general, national chair, deputy secretaries, and then the TG. And the constitution is very clear. When one falls, the other one comes in. And I came to parliament here to clarify some overzealous MPs. Why umashatile ngangene parliament? And it uzawungena. Wait, we are resolving issues, we are shifting people. And we're shifting people. And then we put the DP there at the back. Yabona abamfuna deputy president. And then I came here and clarified MPs, comrades, the deputy president will be sworn in. Don't worry. There is no crisis. This thing, when there is a problem, Becky writes a letter, you want to respond, as though there's no leadership. Here again, no potoi. There is organization here. Becky has written a letter. Unalo ilungo udlamini to raise issues. Ngoba unalo ixesha lokucinga. He's got enough time to think. And I don't want to fight with him when he thinks, because he's got enough time to think. Leave it to us. And it's just now we have been elected. We'll talk to him and then understand him where he comes from and process matters. This thing that when there is an issue, you all want to talk. You've got an opinion. Your opinion, comrades, we need it here in the battle of ideas. The ANC is under attack. We don't see your opinion there. Ujanki is chairing a very important committee there in Parliament. Ukisa abantu amapipe. Abantu badla ngamapipe. Ujanki. Deploy ANC. Now, there are allegations that this and that, and the comrade says this is recorded by the public protector. There is leadership. We process these issues. There is somebody who says the leadership we have is quite all right. Now, you know that that issue will not just go. So we say, Comrade Tina, pass on. I ask these comrades, Hindoni land, ithethwayo ngani? They explain themselves in writing. Tibaqala ngefoni uqala kusesekuseni, one by one, from Pemi to Tina. I won't talk about Tina because she's no more. But Pemi and Kubutile, they say, SG, asiyaz lendo slamizandla. And they write. So I've got no right to doubt the bona fides on the basis of frivolous accusations. Parliament, Comrade Tina, pass on. I can't say what Comrade Tina said, what it did to me. I respect the family. Any other process must be subjected to the law. And we can't conclude even about what killed Comrade Tina, because we don't know. We subject that to the law process, and we protect the right of Comrade Tina and equally the family, who are the children of Comrade Tina. You can analyze till you turn blue and this and that, but we've got to respect that process. Equally, there is nothing in all that is said materially that says these two comrades of ours in Parliament did something. Nothing. Nothing, except that it is alleged that somebody through the recording said the following. But these comrades were not caught in anything materially, that they were in a meeting, in a conversation that said that this thing we are party to it. Now, on the basis of that, we can't arrive at a conclusion that anything must then be done to these comrades and judge their bona fides. And in this particular regard, the processes must be observed in terms of Parliament. And that's where we are in terms of our comrades. So comrades, Pala, all of those issues have been processed as we speak. And nobody has said that what the media wants, and which is what I said the other day to them, you want to run a kangaroo court, it's fine. We know where we come from with that. A group of journalists met in Johannesburg, off the record, and then they were briefed about Jacob Zuma's case. And then it became a big issue. What kind of a country that doesn't learn? Somebody goes to court, the court pronounce, you attack the judges, that they are wrong for arriving at a particular decision. There's nothing wrong to criticize judgments, but you must be factual. Judges are not demigods. It's like Judge Zondo now. He's got an opinion week in and week out, which is fine about him, that certain things must be done and all of that. But we must respect separation of powers, because he has done what he was supposed to do. He's finished. He has handed over to other organs to do their job. That's it. Parliament and all of that. Naye ubhala report, it took him a longer time. He had to change it from time to time and ask for more, for more, for more. So, how will it be easy to arrest somebody overnight? Because judges have resolved that people must be prosecuted, it's easy for Patoi to do that job. Leave Patoi, the team, and the NPA to do their job without fear or favor and come to a conclusion, including arresting people. Because if you put undue pressure on law enforcement, they will make mistakes. They will arrest people for cameras, but they will not be convicted, those people. Because the people we are chasing have got deep pockets. They've got money. The end of Intombazana is a lawyer, an expert. ACT, he was illegally arrested in Tanzania. Haibo. Unfortunately, the courts ruled against that nonsense. But this is what happens in our justice system. A person skipped the country illegally and says, I was illegally arrested. Ukupe a boyfriend that wrong way. It is alleged. We must always use this word, alleged. Kutwa hi boyfriend yakhe uyikhupile trongweni ibanjiwe wafake abafake into ukuthi ebefile lomfo eberani ipati behind the bus dikuleleni happy birthday. A crook behind the bus. They've got deep pockets. They defend themselves. What the ANC must advocate for is the strengthening of law enforcement in the country. So, comrades, we are not wrong when we say, let's go back to the model of the scorpions. We are not wrong. It doesn't matter. Whoever you are, if you've got the answer to answer, you must answer. But law enforcement must not be put under due pressure. And then others mount a campaign against the public protector. colleague, because she must produce a particular result about the president. Colleague asked them 10 points and said, answer. And as no pendulum on Palapa. Thereafter, they are now chasing her wherever she goes. There is a campaign. Leave the public protector. Even in Mkwebane, we never had campaigns and stop her from doing a job. Erratic as she was, we allowed her to do a job. And I'm saying erratic because it has been proven in court of law, one after the other, that she is an erratic and inadequate public representative. That's what the courts have said about her. And then she's answering that question before. And Mkwebane must answer the question before Kubutile. Kubutile enye nenye uzayiphendula. Xa kufuneka iphendulile. And asizujika kulonto. They must finish the job. That is it. They must finish the job. And we're not protecting this comrade because we believe kuye. But we are not going to chase comrade on flimsy reasons. Into engabambekiyo, into viti nje, yeah. Into engabambekiyo. Tina is not there. We don't know whether she did that. We don't know whether she did that, Utina. If she did that, why she did that? Because the ANC does not give anybody a responsibility to do the things that is alleged have been done. The ANC doesn't do that. That's why we took the raider to task. Sisamleka nangoku simfuna eGermany. And asizumiyenka. A citation was given to us in the Pretoria High Court to chase the raider, who's still chasing him. And we found that he is staying in Hamburg in Germany. And now it is a process, comrades, of the law to chase him. But Mbalula, he didn't serve papers on the raider. He's appearing here through Zoom. If he's in South Africa, he must come here in Parliament and face Slangwa there in Skopje. He's in Germany in a city called Hamburg. I don't know all these crooks, what they see in Germany. Even Marcus Joste is from Germany. All these crooks with white... I've never heard anything said in this country. Marcus Joste, the warrant of arrest issued. Big crook, billions. Here in the Western Cape. Nithule nilwa ngokuthi ngubani ofuna kokhele. A big crook here in Western Cape, Marcus Jost, under warrant of arrest. I've never seen Western Cape ANC anywhere raising a statement about that crook. You are in a conference at each other's throat. There is a crook here in Stellenbosch who have embezzled workers' pension money, yabantu. Nithule ngengelelele. AfriForum, you will never see them on that one. But they will be the first, including Alan Winde. I don't know with which police he thinks he can arrest Putin. He thinks these traffic cops who arrested Tony and driving can arrest Putin. He's playing. He's playing. He goes, this Alan Winde, he says he's a patriot. They and there's John Hesthazen. Now I'm about to conclude. Him and John Hesthazen. John Hesthazen then took a flight, whatever he did, he goes to Ukraine. And then he goes there, he thinks this is Netflix. He then takes a picture of himself. I don't know that thing that he was taking a picture from. And then he's wearing old Oudtshoorn. Yeah. Oudtshoorn. There in Ukraine. He comes back, he can't explain what he was going to do there. Alone. He goes, he comes back. And then he make a hell of a noise about Ukraine. Like, we are not for Ukraine. Like, we are for invasion of Ukraine. We are not. And I'm going to explain to you the ANC and its government non-aligned position. And then he goes there with Oudtshoorn, and then he says what he says. And then in no time he's followed by Alan Winde. Alan Winde goes to America and he meets with Americans. I don't know whom he met. And we never even asked who paid for them to go there. Because the DA don't have to even ask. They've got endless money. I pay Malema. They've got money like nobody's business. These political parties who don't even declare where they get income from, they've got endless money. Nobody asks them. But ANC must always account because we've got to account. So he goes there, he badmouth us to the Americans about AGOA. Who said we don't want AGOA? When America threatens that they will take AGOA away from us, it threatens our economy. It means thousands of our people in Port Elizabeth will go unemployed in the automobile industry. We know that very well. And we need to normalize trade relations between us and America, which, by the way, are not threatened. Those trade relations between South Africa and America. All what we have said as South Africa is that we are non-aligned. And we went and told Ukraine, Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. And then we went and told Putin, right? Through an African mission led by President Ramaphosa, acting with other African states. And then say that, stop the war. They say we don't take a stand in terms of what is happening. We have taken a stand. We are against the war. But in terms of the war itself, we believe that, one, these are the things that these two parties must do. The other one agree with us without conditions. The other one has got conditions. Where then is our platform of engagement in terms of resolving conflict in the world? It is the United Nations. The United Nations Charter is against an aggression and invasion of another country by another country. Now, Comrade Patel is our Minister of DTI, is doing a marvelous job. And I'm sure he's got a big headache where he is about AGOA and Russia-Ukraine issue, which, if it is resolved, it resolves all our problems, including issues of trade and what Russia means to us and Ukraine and the rest of the world. It will unblock the Black Sea Cooperation in relation of ensuring that globally everybody get to access grain, fertilizers, gas. It also affects Europe and all of that. Now, who doesn't want the war to be resolved? We want the war to be resolved. But this war cannot be resolved outside the parameters of not talking and promoting dialogue between parties. So if South Africa has got an important voice, it can't lend that voice by taking sides. We don't know what are the American interests in that war. The other day, we're talking to our European counterparts, a socialist European party, who are our allies. And they told us, look, in terms of that war, we are for the small brother, which is Ukraine. They told us. We engaged them, and we explained to them our non-aligned movement, and non-aligned position. And they appreciate and they welcome that. The president explained that thing, that position yesterday in France. We are not opportunistic, we are not convenient about our position. We are principled. Comrades, in principle, it means even if you can stand alone, you must stand for what you believe, for you will be remembered for it. And when we start to engage the politics of America, we are told, including by their ambassador, that we are American bashers. We are not bashing America. We don't believe in aggression of other states. We have witnessed aggression before Ukraine. Cuba is suffering from decades of aggression for their self-determination and the belief in their ideology by the United States of America. For years, Cuba has suffered, and they are still suffering today. In Cuba, comrades, when you've got tonsils, they don't have Panado. They say you must gargle with salt because there is no trade of pharmaceutical products for that country. And the Cuban people have stood against that aggression. What is called a blockade. They've suffered. The Cuban doctors you see here in South Africa and all of that, they don't get a cent as countries, as individuals. Investment is to their country to defend the revolution because it suffers from the blockade. When I here in South Africa, even in the rural areas, when you've got a headache, the first problem you have, and it will be resolved even in your local area, you get grandpa. In Cuba, there is no grandpa. They say you must use your fingers and then start to massage, and then headache will go away. That's what happens there. And yet, yeah, we've got all the luxuries that when you've got this sickness, you can rush to even a spaza shop to get quick medicine. So it is said that we are American bashers when we articulate. I say to the American diplomat who come into our country and bash us, as a diplomat, diplomats don't do that. And he's not withdrawn, he's still here. He comes to our country and say that, no, we have given Russians weapons. We have not given Russians weapons. Russians have got weapons you can't imagine. What can we give them? Roy Falk. Now, comrades, they know we have not given Russians weapons. And the president goes an extra mile and he gets criticized. Ramaphosa, for every solution, he's got a commission. And then we say, yes, that commission is important because we have been and by a superpower, not just by Lesotho, superpower. These people went to war to Iraq and Afghanistan, and they went to Iraq and said that they are weapons of mass destruction. And then we told Saddam Hussein that, look, you've got no power, America will finish you before dinner. And then he said to Saddam Hussein, their tombstones will be erected here in Iraq. We said, we don't have that power. Just allow the United Nations to deal with this matter and prove that you don't have these weapons of mass destruction. He was playing, you know, and all of that. They arrived and they finished him. And they did not prove till today that there are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And Iraq is still suffering till today. And that's what has happened. He didn't take our advice. We said, allow the UN to intervene on this matter. Because America will finish you. Because they want regime change. Even here in Zimbabwe, Mbeki stood firm. They wanted Mugabe to be changed overnight, and then they attack us on what is called quiet diplomacy. This South Africa's quiet diplomacy is a problem. And then we said, we don't subscribe to regime change policy, that governments must be changed willy-nilly through undemocratic means, through military power. Because America can move right from Botswana. In the afternoon, Mugabe will be finished. Because they are here in Botswana. Yes, they move in the afternoon. By dinner, everything will be sorted. We opposed the sanctions, and then we said these sanctions against Zimbabwe will be detrimental to the growth of Zimbabwe and everything. Mnangagwa conducted a coup d'etat and removed Mugabe. What is the state of affairs? They are still not satisfied. Till they get their puppet into power, they will never be satisfied. Zimbabwe is still under sanctions despite the fact that Mugabe was removed. Mugabe went to grave as a changed president by his own comrades in Zimbabwe. Mnangagwa. He brought Zimbabwe, but they did not want those reforms because they want a man called Chamisa. Is it Chamisa or Chamisa? They want him there to be the leader, the new leader of Zimbabwe, of a new Zimbabwe. In the meantime, Zimbabwe as a country has moved to South Africa. From Gugulethu to Khayelitsha, there's Zimbabwe there. The whole country, Zimbabwe, has moved to South Africa. And then we say to the Americans and we say to the British, give the Zimbabweans what they deserve. Because you agreed in Lancaster that you will give them 40 billion pounds for land reform and redistribution program. They did not give them that money till today. And nothing has changed in Zimbabwe. So, comrades, we are not American bashers. We stand for what we believe in as the African National Congress. We stand for a new world order that is defined by justice, equitable world, that is defined by fairness, that is not defined by hypocrisy, that is defined by a rules-based approach. Rule-based approach that says what must happen to Sam must happen to Daniel. That does not have eyes. Everything must be fair to everybody in the world. We believe in a multipolar world that is not governed by a superpower single that imposes itself as a world policeman, that decides what must happen in countries and between countries. And we respect the United Nations as a supreme body that settled world disputes. And that is what we have advised in Afghanistan and Iraq and Libya. And then NATO and the United States acted alone and then brought misery to those countries. Even today, we are still there in terms of our non-alignment position that let's go this route. At the end of the day, there is no conflict that will be resolved by war. So please understand where we come from. We are not pro-Russia. I know the Communist Party is pro-Russia. I don't know whether the secretary of the province spoke about it. And some of you support pro-Russia. And then they believe that Putin is right. And everything else is about a proxy war that is waged by America and its aggression by NATO. They provoked Russia before Russia could do any other thing. I think there is that school of thought. What the ANC says, we must be non-aligned. We know Russia is our partner in BRICS, and we are not going to apologize about that. Russia is our biggest partner in BRICS, together with all the other countries of BRICS. Now they keep asking us, what will happen if Putin comes? And Alan Winde says he will arrest him. I don't know with what. Now this is what we say as the ANC, so that in future we don't have this kind of challenges, because We are signatories of the ICC, Rome Statutes. We say they must be amended to allow people of President Putin's caliber to be exempted when they come into our country. It's not us who have started that. Even in the United Kingdom, they've got that. Our parliamentarians here have been given that responsibility to amend the domestication of the Rome Statutes. And that is what we are talking about as the African National Congress. What will happen to President Putin coming to South Africa in the context of the warrant of arrest? The president and the government have been given a mandate by the ANC. Of course, they act within the law to deal with that particular matter, because it's our turn to host BRICS Summit. At the right moment, the president will brief the nation and everybody else about what will happen, having exhausted all the avenues of ensuring that BRICS becomes a success. So as the ANC, we want a successful BRICS. We will host this month the BRICS Plus dialogue of political parties. We have invited many other people to come to that particular dialogue. So comrades, I'm saying to you that stay the course, and that is the public discourse that we need to engage on, and not kill each other for positions. And we, as the National Executive Committee, we will abide, Tamzela, with the outcome of this conference. And we will respect the wishes of our branches. Yekanuba zindlavini, yekanuba imigodoi. Ibani ngabantu be ANC. Niziphathe kakuhle, and I want to applaud you once more for the good behavior, and not compete and contest for position like they are getting out of fashion. And look at your comrade as an enemy. Talk to each other. And I will tell you a story, comrades. Once I was in the Free State, we were contesting for a position. At that time, I was at headquarters of the Youth League, and comrades were contesting and coming to a conference. And now, these comrades of the Youth League were contesting the ANC in the province. And they had mobilized branches of the ANC, and one comrade of mine, when I arrived there, he went to fetch delegates. And then when the delegates arrived, they booked them accommodation, and there was disco. And then he said to the delegates, comrades, here is your accommodation. I'm quickly going home to refresh and come back. And then this comrade went home. And then when he comes back, he doesn't see these delegates. And then he goes to the room, he knocks, and hey, because they agreed to meet again. And then he asked the security guard at the hotel, hey man, where are these people that I came with? You saw a group of people. The guard says, let me show you. And then in the basement of that hotel, it was happening. Allow me, a Mursa disco was going on. A disco was going on in the basement of the hotel, and all these delegates were there. So this comrade was brave enough to open the door. He came in. No, these delegates did not run away from him. They said, yes, Chief, you are looking after us. Are you looking for us? No, we are here. And that time they had a nice tray full of John Walker Black in front of them. The disco was going on. And then they said, you must learn to look after your delegates, Chief. And then I thought that will make you laugh, comrades. And then it will fit to the experience you are about to undergo between now and tomorrow. But you must learn to look after your delegates. But don't look after them only through drink, also with politics. So, comrades, we honestly wish you well, and please finish the business of the conference. And don't hold it back with frivolous things about credentials. Leave them. Leave those things, and then please allow the fate to happen. If you think you can contest, try your luck. But work with other comrades. Don't hold us back. Because when Matamela comes, and you must work hard today, overnight, because you lost a lot of time yesterday. I arrived here last night, and I'm staying just across here. And I arrived very late yesterday. It was said that you were going to start at 12. I said, I'm not sure. And then I had a meeting in Joburg of the UDF comrades. And I finished that meeting, went home, refreshed, and then went to the airport, flew here last night. So Comrade Barbara said to me, we're going to start still tonight. I said, yay, it's happening. And then later on, I got the message whilst I was unpacking my stuff, no, we'll start in the morning at 9 o'clock. And then I got a message that there are delegates gathered in some hotel. They are drinking like tukamnas. I said, it is not possible that you can get those people in their state to start a conference. There will be anarchy there. Let's rather start tomorrow on a sober note. So, comrades, we're now starting this conference today. We have deployed NEC members here led by Comrade Barbara. They are deployees. We have deployed extra people like in organizing to work with you as well. So when I finish speaking here, I'm going to leave because I'm going to Limpopo tomorrow. We're celebrating Peter Mukaba in Limpopo. So I was just requested to come and open this conference. And I'm not casting aspersions on NEC members who come from this province, who deserve to be in this conference, who are elected in their own name and right, who are not deployed, but are here in that ticket. I don't expect them to do anything except to be just that. So they are our comrades, and I just want to explain that so that you don't treat them with disgust and say, you are not deployed, what do you want? Because in the past, I've seen NEC members who are friends of conferences. Now, with me as the SG, that thing is not going to happen. Ungabanga jika le jacket umbalulu khona, le ukhona. It's not explained ufuna ntoni. So here we deployed deployees and people who are supposed to be here to do work and work with delegates. And we've got reports, comrades, about leadership contest. It's fine. Conference must be contested if comrades don't see in the same direction. But you will find each other. But do not run away from talking to each other. You need to engage. And then it is in your interest, in the interest of the ANC, to find each other. And I see also the Youth League is here. The Youth League is going to a conference next week. When I got the report, the only province that was missing in that report was Western Cape, in terms of audit and everything else. So I wish that the Western Cape can also work itself up, because in the next coming week, we are in the Youth League conference. If in that conference there are others who wished that it must not sit, but we have told them that it's going to sit. Because, comrades, after July, there will be no conference. Uba leni ayichitha naibamba andazi nini. Inkomfa, ngoba there will be no conference. All hands on deck. NEC is sitting next week, and then it will finalize guidelines. We will be electing public representatives. That process must finish as quick as we can. So all hands on deck were fixated on the task of the elections going forward. So there will be no conference in the next coming weeks. The NEC too will focus on the manifesto. What is it that we have done since people gave us a mandate in the last election? So that's what the NEC is going to focus on. Because we're too much looking at ourselves, we don't care about the people. So the ANC since conference is about renewal, is about the people. And that's what now we are about. And we are not going to allow anyone to derail us from that particular program. So comrades, we wish you well in this conference. And we wish you wisdom, lots of wisdom. And we want discipline. And those who are ill-disciplined, we will act on those who are acting in a manner that is ill-disciplined. The National Executive Committee is represented here, and it will lead you correctly. And the IPC, its time has come, and comrades, nizamile. To get 500 delegates is not a child's play. You went to national conference without leadership. Nikhokelwa nguTamzela. Ikhrotmani yami endiyithandayo. uTamzela. Uyayazi naye ndiyamlungiselela into zakhe ezimnandi. But akazifuni but ke ndiyamyeka. Ndithi qhuba Tamzela xa uxakayo lento ndisamile kule nto ndikumele ngayo. Ngoba soze sikulahla. You are the veteran of our organization. Because oTamzela ayingomakhwenkwe ayizolo, if I were to use that word for respect to everyone. They came before. They came from the Robben Island and they served our movement. Akonto sisayifunayo kubo. We must give them their place in the organization. So andifuni nje uTamzela aputyaputyane nalento nikuyo. Khubani nibulalane nenze lonto nimkhuphe so that azokwazi uni advance kakuhle. But funayo ikuni naleyo. Asizuyinqanda. We will not stand against it. But uyayazi ke ukuthi ndimxelele naxa ndifika apha ukuthi Tamzela samile kwanto kanti uxelele yona eGauteng. Ndikulonto no president for wena because I think it's the respect you deserve in the organization. So andifuni ndibe ndiyithetha ngathi ndiyithetha under the carpet and then ndinento endinayo against him. I've got all the respect for Comrade Lerumo Kalaka. And that respect will be based even by me if I wanted. Because that revolution, that respect is engraved in the history of the revolution. And that comrade. And so comrades, thank you very much. And I wish you all the best. Amanda! Awe tu! Mata! Thank you very much. Of course.